Have you ever felt that shock when everything suddenly changes? That's exactly what happened in Formula One at Imola. Verstappen came out full force and dominated the race like no one else, leaving everyone stunned. The fight for the title? It seems to be collapsing really fast, and you're going to understand what that means in practice. Stay with me until the end, and I'll show you all the details of this decisive moment that could turn the championship upside down. Max Verstappen once again showed why he is the biggest name in Formula One right now. From the start at the Imola circuit, the Dutchman imposed himself with authority and made it clear no one would take this victory from him, even starting behind Oscar Piastri. Verstappen reacted precisely, took advantage of every inch of the track, and took the lead on the very first lap. From that moment, full control of the race was in his hands, and the Red Bull driver didn't make a single mistake. Throughout the race, Verstappen demonstrated a cold, calculated reading of the situation. He knew when to push to the max and when to conserve the car, especially during moments when the pace was interrupted by safety cars. This ability to stay calm under pressure is one of the hallmarks defining his dominant phase. At Imola, he turned a race that could have been complicated into another example of absolute superiority. What stands out is how Verstappen manages to make predictable what, for most, is unpredictable. Races are full of variables, but he transforms every detail, from the start to restarts, from tire management to opponents' reactions, into points of advantage. The victory at the Emilia Romagna GP was built with technique, emotional control, and a car tuned to the millimeter for the Italian track. However, this flawless performance had a key moment right in the first second of the race, the overtake on Oscar Piastri. And it is precisely this move at the start that helps understand how Verstappen set his fate so early in Imola. The start of the Emilia Romagna GP was a turning point of the race even before it really began. Max Verstappen knew he couldn't wait many laps to attack Oscar Piastri. With cars still cold and tires seeking the ideal temperature, he risked everything right on the first lap. The move was surgical. He positioned himself on the outside, entering the corner, kept pressure on the inside next, and took advantage of a slight mistake by the Australian to take the lead. In less than a minute, McLaren's plan was falling apart in front of the Dutchman's boldness. This maneuver wasn't just aggressive, it was smart. Verstappen studied Piastri throughout the weekend, understood the strengths and weaknesses of the McLaren car, and waited for the exact moment to strike. When he saw the rival hesitate on braking, he didn't think twice. That overtake set the tone for the race. Max was ready to settle everything as soon as possible, leaving no room for surprises or counterattacks. The psychological impact of the move can't be ignored either. Taking the lead like that, right at the start, destabilizes any rival strategy. Piastri, who had earned a very meritorious pole, immediately had to chase the deficit. And against a driver like Verstappen, overturning such a scenario is almost impossible. Red Bull, comfortable in front, began to dictate the race pace. But even with the lead secured early, Verstappen still had to face critical moments that could ruin everything. And that's where his coolness in handling the two safety cars during the race comes in. Races with safety cars are like matches that suddenly change rhythm without warning. One mistake is enough to lose everything you've built. At Imola, Verstappen had to deal with two such moments, a virtual safety car and, later, a full safety car. Both caused a break in the natural pace of the race, brought the cars closer together, and jeopardized any advantage built until then. But, as usual, the championship leader showed he also masters the art of the restart. During the neutralization, Verstappen was meticulous. While other drivers lost tire temperature and rhythm, he kept focus and carefully prepared for the restart. Choosing the perfect spot to accelerate again was crucial. At the restart, he not only kept the lead, but immediately rebuilt a safety gap over his pursuers, preventing any aggressive attacks. This calmness in critical situations shows how Verstappen has become a complete driver. Earlier in his career, he might have pushed too hard or let anxiety take over. Today, at the peak of his technical and emotional maturity, he turns every risk into control, every instability into advantage. His dominance at Imola wasn't just about pure speed. It was about balance amid chaos. Even with all this under control, a question remained in the air. Would anyone manage to pressure him in the final laps, especially with the growing pace of McLaren's? The answer came in the clear contrast between Verstappen and his rivals, especially McLaren and Ferrari.
Well, we're past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like on this video yet. This is really important for YouTube to keep recommending my content to you, and this way I'll keep bringing you the best Formula One content. So go ahead and leave a like on this video. It's free, thanks. Now continuing.
While Verstappen drove his race with almost surgical precision, his rivals struggled unsuccessfully to find any openings to threaten him. McLaren, with Lando, Norris, and Oscar Piastri, showed moments of good pace, especially in the second half of the race, but nothing that put real pressure on the leader. Ferrari, with Lewis Hamilton just behind, also failed to consistently close the gap. Red Bull's dominance was technical, strategic, and emotional. McLaren bet on a combination of solid pace and tire management, hoping Verstappen would make a mistake. But what happened was the opposite. Whenever Norris closed in slightly, Verstappen responded with quick laps, creating the necessary space again. It was as if he was precisely dosing how much to push, no waste, no excess, just enough to not let anyone breathe. Lewis Hamilton, on his part, performed well with Ferrari and showed consistency, but the gap to Verstappen made it clear there is still a lack of pure performance to threaten the reigning champion. Even on a tighter circuit like Imola, where overtaking chances are scarce and mistakes costly, Red Bull stayed firm, showing no mechanical or strategic weaknesses. This gap between Verstappen and the rest of the field raises an inevitable question. How far will this dominant streak go? What seemed impossible at the start of the hybrid era now happens regularly, and if nothing drastically changes, the title looks more and more secured. But the Imola race sends another warning. Verstappen is not just winning, he is winning by a margin. The Emilia Romagna GP was not just another win on Max Verstappen's record. It was a public reaffirmation of his current dominance in Formula One. At a stage in the championship that usually marks trend changes, he showed he remains the benchmark to beat. Each victory now acts as a psychological shield for the rest of the season, and a reminder to rivals that it will take more than talent to beat him. With this win, Verstappen extends his championship lead and increases the pressure on his competitors. Teams already realize that as long as he is at the top of Red Bull and in full form, any tactical or technical mistake can be costly. He doesn't waste opportunities, doesn't get shaken by weather, tires, or strategy changes, and handles the ups and downs of a race as if seeing everything in slow motion. This moment also reinforces the strength of the Verstappen-Red Bull combination, perhaps the most dominant since Schumacher's golden years with Ferrari. The harmony between driver and team, combined with the pure talent Max displays on track, creates a cycle of efficiency that is hard to break. Even with McLaren and Ferrari improving, the difference lies precisely in consistency. Verstappen not only wins, he delivers a maximum every time he gets in the car. The season still promises intense chapters, but after what we saw at Imola, it's increasingly clear. To take Verstappen off the top, it's not enough to just race well. You have to race better than someone who, today, is at his best form. And that's why every GP won with such authority fuels the question even more. Who will be able to stop Max Verstappen in 2025? Verstappen once again showed why he is the dominant driver this season, making it clear that the title fight is quickly falling apart. Red Bull's strength and flawless strategy have put the competition in a difficult position, with McLaren and Ferrari trying to keep pace. This scenario raises several questions about how the rivals will respond in the upcoming races, and whether anyone will be able to slow down the current dominance. What do you think? Is the championship still open, or is Verstappen already on his way to another title? Share your opinion in the comments, and stay tuned for more Formula One updates.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about everything happening in the world of Formula One and want to stay updated on the latest news, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who also follows F1 closely and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one I picked especially for you, with more news and analysis, and the other is a suggestion from YouTube itself. I'll see you there. Until the next video.